58 little pieces. Each one of those 58 little pieces is one of these seats here. And so these seats are actually areas, not actual people. And what happens is all the people from one of those little areas, this is a little more like American politics, we call them ridings or constituencies, each of those little areas. And then all the people from one of those little areas vote for one person from a party. And then whichever party wins the most of those little areas forms the government. But unlike American politics, you know, your governor, well, our premier doesn't, he isn't separate from the system. He's voted in like everyone else, and he's a participating member of the ledge here. In fact, if you guys count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seats in the front row, that's the premier's desk right there. The premier traditionally sits 6 seats from the speaker. You're going to notice also the crown of the mace, that big gold thing on the end of the table there, points directly at the premier's desk, indicating power rests with the government. The mace is carried by the guy who sits all alone up at the front here. That is the Sergeant of Arms. The idea behind the Sergeant of Arms is he protects the speaker. Again, open debate is allowed in the chamber, and the speaker is the guy who basically, you know, moderates and keeps order. And back in England, you know, back in when the Middle Ages, I guess, when Parliament was being invented and the system was being hammered out, being the speaker was a much more dangerous job than it is today. And this is the story of sort of why we have the Sergeant of Arms. What would happen is, and this is also where the term speaker comes from, what would happen is the House would decide something, and they'd say to the Speaker, go speak to the King and tell the King what decided. And off the Speaker would go and speak to the King. And I believe the King executed 9 speakers in a row for him not liking what they had to say. And I mean, it wasn't always the King, you know, sometimes he would say, no, I'm sorry, Speaker, go back and tell the House how it's actually going to be. And off the Speaker would go back to the House, and then they'd kill him. And, you know, they'd kill him as a warning to the next guy to do a better job than the first guy did. So yeah, the office of the Sergeant of Arms was created to protect the Speaker. And, I mean, the mace didn't used to look like that at all. It would have been a long iron rod, big spiky ball in the end. Idea being, anybody who threatens the Speaker, he would run over and club them with the mace. And this was a very effective system. Speaker executions went down dramatically. So yeah, since, you know, we've taken it and turned it into a very symbolic, traditional role. And the mace is gold-plated. It weighs about 60 pounds, and we bought it in 1906 for $304. So yeah, times they have changed. If you take a look up there, you will see behind the Speaker's chair that gold tapestry. That tapestry was hand-sewn out of metallic thread by 2 nuns in a Montreal convent and then given to us. You'll notice 3 wheat sheaves just above the crown of the Speaker's chair. That is our provincial symbol. And this is actually the very first place in the province that it was pictured. That symbol was a guy named the Earl of Essex's symbol over in England. And when we became a province in 1905, we didn't have the symbol, so we stole his. And yeah, that's where we got our provincial symbol from, and that's the very first spot in this picture. These 2 lamps are from Trafalgar Square. They were a gift of the Queen to the building when it opened. What that means is we've had electricity since the day the building was built. So that would have been a huge deal back in 1908, especially given that there was nothing around here. There are 2 galleries on our left and right, both public galleries. Anybody can come and watch anything in here. Even if you can't, there's cameras. All debates are televised. That's also why there's microphones in every single desk. So even if you can't come, you can watch it on television. No one ever does, but...
Is that on CPAC?
No, CPAC is federal. We usually, most provincial provinces will have sort of a station. I believe here it's channel 18. That one, you know, you always flip over when you're watching TV.
Except when you want to sleep.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can watch it if you ever have the desire to. That's the press gallery facing us. That blue chair right there would be where the person who controls all these microphones sits. Also press, radio, people like that. And then above here, special guests of the Speaker. That would be this gallery up here. For instance, we had the Saskatchewan's Olympians and whatnot among the other day, where the guys who sat up here. A couple other things. The carpet's red. It shouldn't be. It should be green or blue. Red is a royal color. We are not a royal house. We are an elected house. We're a house of the people. The Canadian Senate, for instance, has a red carpet. If you ever go to England to the House of Lords, they have a red carpet. Nobody knows why it's red. We've replaced it 3 times. It's been red since the day the building was built. And yeah, I guess now we've had it for so long that it's tradition to keep it red. So yeah, and that's that. There are 2 statues in here. On our left is Sir John A. Macdonald, the first Prime Minister of Canada. And then on our right is a guy you guys will probably recognize, Louis-Hippolyte Lafontaine. Lafontaine was one of Canadians' fathers of Confederation, but also back before Confederation in Upper and Lower Canada, he was a very notable French politician. So the reason we have him here is we're a unilingual province. We only speak English. but both English, Sir John A., and French, La Fontaine, are represented in